Congratulations. You've been hired as the child care of this house, but you must follow some rules. That message blinked on my phone at 3:17 a.m., and I should have ignored it, but I didn't. My name is Claire, and I was desperate for a job after losing everything. The offer sounded perfect, $2,500 per week to take care of 2 kids in a quiet mansion far from the city. When I arrived, the house looked like it had been frozen in time, towering and silent under the fog. Mrs. Whitmore, the owner, greeted me with a hollow smile and handed me an old yellow paper titled Rules. There were 10 of them. Never let the children leave the playroom after sunset. Never open the 3rd door on the 2nd floor. Always serve dinner at 8 sharp. Don't respond to knocks inside the walls. No mirrors. Don't enter the basement. Ignore voices calling your name after midnight. Keep curtains closed after 9. Never sleep in the same room twice. And if the children cry for no reason, sing the lullaby on the back of the paper until they stop. I laughed, thinking it was just superstition. Mrs. Whitmore didn't laugh. Follow them or you won't last the week, she said coldly. The first day went fine. Evelyn and Thomas were quiet, polite kids. But as the clock struck 8 May that evening, Evelyn suddenly froze and whispered, "We need to go to the playroom now." When we entered, the house fell completely silent, and footsteps echoed upstairs. Even though no one else lived there, that night I heard knocking inside my wall. It wasn't random. It was rhythmic, patient. Remembering Rule 4, I stayed silent under my blanket until dawn. On the 3rd day, curiosity got the better of me. The 3rd door upstairs was locked tight, its brass handle cold like ice. When I asked Mrs. Whitmore about it, her expression darkened. "That door stays closed for a reason," she said. But at midnight I woke to a child crying from behind that same door. "Help me, Claire," the voice whimpered. "They locked me in." It was Thomas's voice. But when I checked the playroom, both kids were sleeping soundly. The crying didn't stop until sunrise. The next day, Evelyn found a shard of mirror in a toy box and stared into it before I could stop her. Her body went stiff, eyes rolling back, and she began humming the same lullaby written on the paper. "She's behind me," Evelyn whispered. I turned, and in the faint reflection of the window, I saw her. A tall, veiled woman smiling far too wide. When I blinked, she was gone. That night, I covered every mirror in the house with cloth. On the 6th night, the kids refused dinner, muttering, "She's awake now, she's hungry." Mrs. Whitmore appeared suddenly with a candle in her hand and said, "She has chosen you." Before I could speak, the knocking returned, this time from beneath the floor. "Go to the basement," she whispered. "She's waiting." The basement door creaked open by itself. The air was cold and foul. I descended slowly, flashlight trembling. The basement was an old nursery, filled with cribs, rotting toys, and children's drawings. All of a tall woman in a black veil, holding 2 children by the hand. My light flickered, and there stood Evelyn and Thomas, pale and lifeless, eyes black as night. "You broke the rules," they said together. Behind them, the veiled woman stepped forward, her face hidden, her hands long and bony. "Now you'll take my place," she hissed. I ran for the stairs, but the door slammed shut. The lullaby echoed through the dark as something cold touched my shoulder. When I woke, morning light filled the playroom. Mrs. Whitmore stood over me, smiling. "You did well, Claire. The children are happy again." My hands were pale, shaking. I looked into a mirror on the wall, but there was no reflection. I turned, but my body didn't move. "You're part of the house now," Mrs. Whitmore whispered. "Just like the others." I heard footsteps, someone new entering the hall. A young woman with a suitcase. Mrs. Whitmore smiled at her and said the same words that started it all. "Congratulations. You've been hired as the child care of this house, but you must follow some rules." And deep inside the walls, I began to knock.